Today in class we did a lot of review on solving equations, and so in order to get prepared for the quiz tomorrow in class, and so I just want to do a couple of quick reviews by way of this video to show you some of the solutions. Let's look at number 2, because number 2, you guys have done very good on adding and subtracting to be able to solve for x. Dividing and then ones with fractions have been a little bit more of the common problem area. So let's look at number 2 real quick. Number 2 says 6y equals negative 66. And we know that the operation taking place between 6 and y is 6 times y equals negative 66. And so the inverse operation or opposite operation for multiplication is division. So I will divide by 6. That will allow me to cross out my 6's and drop down my y. Anything I do to one side of the equation, again, we need to do to the opposite side of the equation. So I'm going to also divide here by 6, and negative 66 divided by 6 is negative 11. So for number 2, y equals negative 11. Number 6 is a perfect example of a fraction problem, and most of you identified pretty quickly that we need to subtract 7 from both sides, and so we would end up with 4 equals x over 5. And here's where we had various options on how to solve it, but the only one correct way is to multiply by 5 over 1. And if we were to do this off to the side, we would end up with x times 5, which is 5x, over 5 times 1, which is 5. And we know that 5x over 5 would simplify to just x. And that's basically why we multiply that side by 5 over 1, is so that we can cancel out our 5's and drop down our x. And anything I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to multiply that side of the equation by 5 over 1, which is the same thing as just multiplying by 5. So 4 times 5 is 20. My x equals 20. Alright, then one more problem. X minus 3 over 4. And we have reiterated this one a good bit in class, that when you see an expression in the numerator, go ahead and put around parentheses around that, so that way when you do the reverse order of operations, you realize that that parentheses is going to be the last thing that gets cleared. And so I will have x minus 3 over 4, put it in parentheses, equals 8. And so the first thing I need to do again is clear out this denominator. In order to clear out the denominator, I need to multiply by 4 over 1. And so my 4's will cancel out and the x minus 3 will drop down, equals, anything I do to the left side of the equation, I have to do the same thing to the right side of the equation. So multiply by 4 over 1. That will give me 32. And then I can add 3 to both sides. So x would equal 35. And I think after watching you guys work in the class, most of you seem to be really well prepared for this quiz, and we should be able to have fun and see some nice scores on it. Don't forget to review some of your concepts, and especially distribution and combining like terms, and we should be real good and ready for tomorrow.